Welcome back to the Ratline, where we sift through documents to uncover locations of Nazi fugitives and dig into the deeper story of who smuggled them out. Last time we've completed the first 3 chapters, so this time we're gonna move on to chapter 4. I'm getting a phone call in the night again. Hello? Is that you again? Another 3 a.m. call? You've done well, Mr. Perlman. I tracked down Annalise Hoffman and her new husband. Turned out she's iced. The last one. Congratulations. You're going to arrest her? Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. Oh boy. So is that it? We're done? Not even close. You're going to start paying me? I'm covering my own expenses here. My library card is maxed out. Mr. Perlman. Oh, forget it. I can see you guys are as tight as you are tight-lipped. Mr. Perlman, we need you to look into some ex-Nazi based in South America, Argentina, Bolivia, and Paraguay. I already got a guy in Argentina, a dentist. This is different. These men were high-ranking Nazi officers. After they escaped from Europe, certain powers chose to make use of them for their skills. Arrest, interrogate, torture. Some now head up secret police departments and go only by aliases. They were promoted, basically. They visit untold misery on their country's people and strive the spread of the democracy. We need to hunt them down. And have them arrested? No. We want to eliminate them. And if I refuse? So, you seem to have a nice enough lie. Do you really want to find out? I see. A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Perlman. You can go back to sleep. Your next package arrives tomorrow. Okay, so those people that are making us do this, I mean, again, I understand their cause, but also they're not being the nicest to us while we're helping, right? Chapter 4, the day of the Cobra. So before we get into this case, what I want to talk about is what I missed last time, which is the whole situation with rotating documents. Because it just said, oh, there's an arrow and you can press it to see something, and then it didn't give any indication where am I to look for this arrow, because it's not on all the documents. So I'm gonna pin some old evidence that I now know has the arrows. So in chapter 2, this was the original thing we were supposed to notice. There is this arrow next to the X that says flip the document. It's a bit of a weird placement, and even then, like, it said, oh, it's on a document, but it was on a picture. And also it's because there are, like, those arrows that look like more of a rotation arrow. But if you click them, what they let you do is basically swap where the documents are on the board. So I guess, like, the interface is a bit confusing, at least to me. But yes, on this squad photo from Mission 2, if we flip it around, we get this backside that says safe passage assured, D, and then triangle, square, triangle, semicircle, semicircle. So we know the 2 guys that with the semicircle, those are the 2 guys we tracked down in chapter 2. But that means potentially those 3 people they're going to come back. Maybe in this mission, maybe in another one. And the symbols, especially, we saw that in the next chapter, chapter 3, where they were used on the shipping crates that they were putting on the ship to decide where the people are going. So this might be information we use later on. Then similarly in mission 3, this picture from the dock where they use those symbols, this can also be flipped, and it reveals basically the initials that the people were given after they were shipped, right? So there was like Annalise Hoffman, and that's what it says on the crate, but then on the reverse it says SH, because then she was renamed to Helen something. She changed her name again afterwards. So that's why it doesn't match what the final answer was. And then again, the SH becomes DF, David Fairview, and RG, Roger Green from WF. So that could have helped us with that mission, but it wasn't necessary. Like, we got that information from other places. It was just a hint. And I don't think that's gonna be needed for future missions, because it's purely for this. But it links with this other flipped page, right? Safe passage assured, new identities assigned, D. Again, D is some sort of person that's behind the smuggling operation. So we know already, like, this whole story is linked. So this is something we may want to come back to later on. I am actually going to leave this reverse of the picture from the squad here just in case it's relevant, since we're saying other people were shipped to South America, so that might be some of them. There is also this note that was in, again, chapter 3 that didn't have anything to do with chapter 3 as I can tell, so we should keep that in mind for the future because we're probably gonna find how to decode this later and it will serve towards the larger story. So that's it for the explanation of what's going on with the flipping and what I've missed because of that. And now let's get into the case. So we're looking for 2 people. They only have aliases, the Cobra and the Viking. And we've got a bunch of pictures, but let's start with the description. Mr. Perlman, we are searching for 2 individuals. The Cobra, the secretive leader of the Chilean police force, and the Viking, his key lieutenant. We need the real names from before the war. Not who they are now. We have surveillance photos from 4 locations: Val de Mol, Piedraloma, Porto Valenco, and Santa Corvina. Unfortunately, the photos are poorly labeled. However, we believe the Cobra and the Viking appear in these images. Additional intelligence: the Cobra operates several local businesses in addition to his official duties. He's reportedly very hands-on, personally overseeing every detail of these operations. This may help identify him. Best of luck. Okay, so we have pictures. We have pictures of various people at locations. They're not even the same people on the same pictures. So they're in those pictures, but it's not like repeatedly. It's one of them. So those guys look like they're kind of guarding the entrance. So I would say the guy who's like the chief of police and whatever, he's probably not just standing outside guarding the door, but maybe his lieutenant is. Then some guys chilling. There is a truck with like fish on it and stuff like that. And there is a number on the side, like how's my driving? I assume call the company to complain, and a license plate. So that may lead us back to somewhere. Like maybe, I guess some of it is scratched out. Yeah, so we can't like call the number unless we find this first part of it. This, oh, interesting. Because this says Piedraloma, so it's one of the locations named, but there is a poster here. Oh, Santa Corvina, Piedraloma. Okay, you can see slightly more if you make the picture large. So he has 3 fishes. He's got mountains, like they're the teams, and like that may be the logos of the towns, or it might be the logos of like the sponsors, right? So the companies are sponsoring the football teams, and therefore that's the logos that appear. This guy also has a snake on his neck, so that might be a hint towards something. Because yeah, here on this next picture we've got a guy wearing a t-shirt with the mountain, so that could be like a football team t-shirt. And this guy got no leg, which I assume might be of importance. Okay, that's all we got. That's all we start with, and the rest of the information we have to dig up ourselves, like I assume by calling someone. So we have partial business name on here, Lavid and Can something. Is this something potentially on Rolodex? It's snowing outside. Yes, there we go. Lavid Encantada. That's a number. Let's see if anyone answers. Lavid Encantada, the finest wine in Chile. Juan speaking. How can I help? Tell me more about your store. We are a family-run wine shop nestled in the Vale de Mole. That's an area in Chile famous for its vineyards. You sound American. Have you visited? I have not. Our town is tiny. 2 stores, one run by me, one by my cousin. Only 500 people live here because it is so remote. However, we are proud to stock wines from all key vineyards. Tell me about the area. How about the area in general? It is a truly stunning valley, in which nestles some of the most renowned vineyards of all of Chile. You know, very recently a famous travel writer wrote about us for his newspaper. Okay, that's, I assume, something maybe we can dig up. Oh yes, we sent him around the Norwegian vineyard. The one with all the feral roosters and cockerels. A lovely man. Very drunk. Sounds like a dream. I'll send you a photo I took of him. Are there any less desirable aspects of the town? Like many towns, we are blighted by the presence of the secret police. In this case, outside the store, which seems the de facto headquarters. You have had run-ins with them. I have been fortunate enough to avoid their gaze. However, my cousin who runs the grocery store was a student activist before the coup. He was not so lucky. He still bears the scars. I'm sorry to hear that. You should talk to him. He's the only other shop in town. You are close with your cousin? You know, we share an area code, but otherwise we are very different people. That's all for now. Many thanks. I'll call again if I need you. You're more than welcome. I like that anyone we call, it's just like, oh yeah, here's everything, right? I don't care. Random pencil calls. Let me tell you all about what's going on. So we get the transcript of that, then we get photo of the drunk guy. Oh, and there's some of the people I'm pretty sure are on the other pictures, and we can't flip that. Dear Juan, killed it, cooked it, got the name for the article. Thanks for setting me up with the visit. Best, BU. Okay, let's pin that reverse as well in case it's important. Okay, so that's one phone call done. I assume there's a way to call the grocery store as well. We just have to know who we're calling. So yeah, this guy here with the eye patch is the same as this guy on the patio. But otherwise not sure about the other guy. Like this one on the patio, he has glasses and this one not, so I assume there would be different people. I wonder with the area code, right? Because for this truck, we're missing the front of the number. Could we use the start of the number from the vineyard and then the rest of that? So it would be 234 and then 175 169. No. Okay, that doesn't go anywhere. However, what I'm seeing right now is that we can call a Lemurian embassy. So let's give them a call, see what they have to say. Nah, they're not answering. Oh well, no golden idols for us. Now I'm just looking through numbers. We can also call the East India Company. And that actually calls the East India Company. This is an Obra Dinn reference. This is a voicemail for the East India Company. Our director is currently away looking for his grandfather's missing ship. If you wish to contact him, please throw a bottle into the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. Apparently it's an evidence added to my file. I don't think I need it for anything. We can also call the Roottrees Candy Company. All the references hidden in this Rolodex. Hello, Roottrees Candy Company. Beth Knox speaking. How can I help? Hello, Beth. I'm here to talk about tooth decay. Just 1 second, sir. I'm going to transfer you to another line. Okay, we're alone. Let me tell you. Some of the kids we see coming in here bury a tooth in their head, like a grenade in the graveyard. That seems extreme. Honestly, I think it's something in the formula for 5 pieces. I'm sorry. I get quite passionate about this. Who am I speaking to? My name is Perlman. I'm a private investigator. Oh, go on. We've got our own share of bodies buried here, if you get me. Thanks, Beth. It's not my immediate priority, but I'll let you know if I can get round to it. Oh, you betcha. God bless you, sir. Again, just a little reference. I guess they told us we could talk to Beth in that dentist case, but I thought they meant it like just as a little joke, not that we can actually call them. Yes, I'm just looking for, so we can call the Santa Crevina Football Club. That may actually be relevant to what we're currently investigating. Okay, they're not answering, so that doesn't help. So yes, there's lots of businesses in the Rolodex, but they're like town name, something like normal business, tailor, opticians, lightning furnishings, right? So unless we find something in here, like we can't just start calling random numbers. And oh yes, there is the football club from Santa Crevina, but they're not answering their phone. Plus, I'm not quite sure how it would happen. I mean, they could just tell us like, oh, and our biggest sponsor is this place. That would have helped, but they're not gonna tell me their life story. So there is this guy, which is some travel writer, BU, but I'm not sure, like, he's not one of the people, I assume. He may just know something if we were able to contact him. I just looked at the Rolodex, but let me check again. No, there's nothing on the under U that's like, oh yeah, travel or something. But going still off the area code clue, there is these Quesos del Vale listing that also starts with 234. That would be Cheeses of the Valley or something, which I guess could be a grocery store. So let's see if they answer. There we go. Quesos del Vale. David speaking. Hello, my name is Perman. I just spoke to your cousin at the wine store. Ah yes, how can I help? Tell me more about your store. We're just a humble grocery store. We sell cheese, vegetables, local pork, food grown in the region. How long have you been running it? I took it over from my father and mother 4 years ago. Your cousin mentioned you had some trouble with the security services. I did. I don't think I should talk about it. David, I'm investigating the Cobra. We want to catch him. You are? You know, I've met him. You've met him. I write for Libération Nationale, the socialist newspaper. We look into government corruption. We also write about important arts and cultural events to keep our readers up to date. You were arrested? I was walking to my house when I was picked up and put into a large van. What kind of van? White, very cold, maybe a butcher's truck or something like that. Perhaps one of the fish vans from Santa Crevina that deliver the catch to local restaurants. Yes, that would align with the truck we see in one of the pictures, and then the Santa Crevina having the fishes on their football team. So maybe they are a sponsor. What happened then? I was taken to a large brick building. I couldn't see much, but it stank of fish guts. So it might have been a tinning factory. You were taken for interrogation? Yes, I was put in a chair. 2 guards asked me questions, first calmly, then applying blows. Every so often they would stop and speak quietly to a third man, the Cobra. I believe so. He was obviously very senior. He was at a desk, just writing. I couldn't get a clear look at him. I had my pinhole camera and managed to get a photo. I can see that? You can, though it's far from perfect. I only heard him say one thing. Take the van back to the factory and remind me to give Chiquita his bonus. I assume this was for one of his informants, the rat. The strangest thing was that they did not seem concerned with asking about our work on corruption. Mostly they seemed interested in a small article about the Norwegian Art Expo. Again, the Norwegians, right? There was a Norwegian vineyard and now Norwegian Arts Expo. Why do you think? They were very angry. They kept saying, "Do you know what you have done?" Did you? I did not. One of them, a short brute of a man, stepped forward. He was shouting, holding the printed article. He said, "You mean to betray the Cobra? You know his name," in an article about Norwegian culture. I was completely bemused. I asked them how, and frankly, I should have saved my breath. They started beating me very hard. I thought I was going to die. How comes they let you go? Honestly, it was my level of confusion. In the end, the man at the desk whispered a few words and I was thrown back into a van and deposited on the same corner they had picked me up from. That's all for now. Many thanks. I'll call again if I need you. Goodbye. We are yet to call anyone back after discovering something. Okay, so there is some details here, like they printed some article and that in that article about this Norwegian art, they somehow put the name of the Cobra. You know his name, right? Like his actual real name, that's what the problem is. So we have to get this article? Oops, I closed the picture that was behind. Okay, well, it's just a picture of him at the desk and we can't see his face. We can see his shoes. I guess what it tells us is that he has both his legs, which means it eliminates this guy here, right? Is there a way for us to get the copy of the article? Because that would, of course, reveal a lot. It's not listed as somewhere we can call and ask them about it, so that's not gonna happen. I'm still wondering about this fish business then, because that's clearly the thing. Oh, maybe that's it. We're missing the area code, but we can call the Santa Crevina Football Club, which means we know the area code is 242. So that's for the fish shop maybe as well. There will be 242 175 169. We're getting somewhere. Oh, it's just a voicemail. This is the answer machine for the Pesquera Tinning Company. We are currently closed. If you are seeking records, all documents are now publicly available. Please call back later. Oh yes, because we have the library access as well. So it's called Pesquera Tinning Company. Yes, I guess it's time to start going in the library. Yes, there we are. Pesquera factory letter. Memorandum. All factory personnel, management, Pesquera Tinning Factory. Effective immediately, all employees are reminded that tattoos and long hair are strictly prohibited on the factory floor. These standards are non-negotiable and are to be observed at all times during work hours. As if, you know, you can like take them on and off, your tattoos and long hair. In addition, smoking anywhere on the company property is expressly forbidden. Any violation of this policy will result in a disciplinary action, including deduction from wages at the discretion of management. The director has made it clear such behaviors are entirely unacceptable and will not be tolerated under any circumstances, as they reflect poorly on the standards of our organization. He emphasizes these are values he upholds himself as a good example to all. Lastly, all factory personnel are required to be present at the stadium this Friday to support the owner's team in their match against local rivals. Participation and cheering for Chiquita is mandatory. Chiquita again. So is he in the football team then? So what this is telling us is basically whoever's at the head of this business, which I guess it's supposed to be the Cobra, since it said he gets involved. He doesn't smoke and doesn't have any tattoos. So for example, the guy with the snake tattoo is not the Cobra right here. So that's not him. Then we know he has both legs, so not him. And he's wearing a football t-shirt for the other team, right? This is for the Piedra Loma, and he's sponsoring the Sartec Corvino team because the logo matches the company, so he also wouldn't be that guy. I wish like I could like draw on those things to be like, cross them out, it's not him. So here, those two guys were, I mean, they're not smoking and they don't have any tattoos, so that doesn't, but he is smoking, so he's out, but he could be. Oh, but here, that guy is smoking. So that wouldn't be, I mean, his hair is kind of longish, the same with this guy, he's got long hair. I mean, he could have taken it to extreme and it's like, he's just bald. That's why he doesn't have long hair. So yeah, that leaves him to be like this guy here with the glasses, this guy here with no glasses, or the bald guy. Although I'm still like, this seems like, you know, someone just guarding the gate, so the big boss wouldn't be doing that. And there is still possibility that this guy and this guy are the same, like he just needs glasses for reading because he's reading a newspaper, so it might still be the same guy, like looks fairly similar, right? Short black hair, wearing a brown suit. I know multiple people can have brown suits, but it feels like in this sort of game you would avoid people looking so similar, where, you know, like the art style is not detailed enough to be like, oh yeah, he's definitely different, has different facial features. And I mean, the two are hanging out together in both those pictures if they're the same guys. Okay, well, there are still 5 pieces of evidence to find, so we have to draw more conclusion from all of this. I guess more library, like the Liberación Nacional could be in the library. Okay, there we go. Liberación Nacional letter. Exposition of Norwegian art said to arrive in Santiago. Yes, there we go. A delegation of Norwegian artists are said to arrive in Santiago to display the best of Scandinavian art, theater, music, and dance. The musical program spans both classical and contemporary works, featuring pieces such as The Ice Harp by Lien, Concerto for Casper by Hansen Oberg, and The Haunting Songs from the Fjord by Ekenland. Also included is the minimalist suite 3 Still Winters by Nygaard, performed by a mixed ensemble of Norwegian and Chilean musicians. All 4 pieces are considered examples of Norwegian style of hidden music. The week-long celebration is part of an ongoing cultural exchange supported by the Norwegian Ministry of Culture and the Municipality of Santiago, aiming to deepen artistic connection between Norway and Latin America. It also commemorates the 30th anniversary of the Tromsø Bridge Massacre, in which 250 Norwegian resistance fighters were routed by Nazi forces. Okay, so not like giant name being like, and this guy is doing something, right? There is something like hidden here to imply the guy's name. Then we have fires break out in major Valle Planto towns. Investigation continue into large blazes in Yama, Tambo, and Quir. Witnesses say the blazes erupted overnight, destroying several public buildings. Unconfirmed reports suggest mercenary Chilean forces may have set fire to voting booths on the eve of the national election amid fears of a major defeat at the polls. This is a developing story. So somewhere here, the name is hidden, even though it's not obvious, so like the guy who wrote this was confused about it, and they were like, oh, maybe he doesn't know what he did, so they let him go. But they somehow discovered that this was suspicious. Okay, well, let's pin it. Is there anything about Chiquita? No, nothing like that. And we learn more about like the things that are named in this article. So we have like the ice harp, concerto for Caspers, and Tromso Bridge article. Okay. For When You Broke My Heart. And it's just a piece of music. I assume we don't have to like play it or anything. Celia Hansen Oberg, 1966. But for some reason that brings us also the Tromso Bridge article, which is about the massacre, I assume. The Condor. Yes, I was like, here he is reading the Condor as well. Interesting. Chile's Scandinavian population remembers the horrors of war. Santiago Chile, the director of South American Scandinavian Cultural Alliance, led a solemn remembrance ceremony yesterday honoring those killed at the Tromso Bridge massacre in 1941. The event marked the anniversary of failed resistance operation during the Nazi occupation of Norway. On March 11, 1941, local fighters planned to sabotage a bridge east of Tromso, near Sätermoen, along the Bardu River. Before the attack could be carried out, their position was ambushed by German Panzer Division. It is widely believed that the mission was compromised by a single act of betrayal, though the identity of the informant was never formally confirmed. Among the fallen was Andres Oberg, a noted surgeon and a husband of Celia Hansen Oberg. Okay, so that's how that song is linked to the massacre. If we're talking about someone being an informant, it's possible that this person is who's here, right? So we're not looking for someone who's German, we're looking for someone who's Norwegian, but he was allied with the Nazi side. This was an act of bravery, rebellion, and patriotism, Hansen Oberg said. It was undone by the cowardice of one person, setting back Norway's resistance and costing the lives of family members, brothers, and husbands. We can never forget. The service concluded with prayers and a candlelight ceremony held at La Cathedra del Espiritu Andino. Okay, so is the Cobra a Norwegian man who betrayed his people then? Or is the Cobra the husband? He didn't really die, he actually betrayed his country, but they faked his death so that he could then continue without anyone realizing that he was out there. Because that would then align with, how do you know his name in here? Because that is a name. Well, let's see if anything else therefore brings anything here. So nothing for the Songs of the Fjord, nothing for the Eikeland, Three Still Winters, Nygaard. Then we have this Skjold. There we go. Chapter on Skjold. Advanced harmony techniques. Oh no, are we gonna have to do music? Once dismissed as a novelty, particularly by the serialist of the Dramstad School, Skjold has gained quiet admiration in recent years, especially among South American composers. A form of musical cryptography, Skjold assigns notes to letters, allowing composers to embed hidden messages within melodic motifs. The challenge lies in crafting phrases that are both musically engaging and textually meaningful. To increase legibility, letters are mapped by frequency of use in the alphabet. The technique is believed to have originated with Norwegian resistance groups in the early 1940s, who used concert programs to pass covert messages, sometimes detailing ammunition drops or attack plans, without alerting occupying German forces. Today, South American composers have adapted this method as a tool of subtle resistance under authoritarian regimes. Okay, so I guess that lets us read that piece of music that we have found. For When You Broke My Heart. Yes, if he was the spy, that would work, right? She's like, found out about it, is like, oh my god, he did that. Okay, so this says Einar Stormer Tromso traitor, which means it wasn't the husband, right? Because her husband was Andreas Oberg that died there. Einar Stormer. So I guess his name is not given here at all. They like extrapolated themselves from it. Like they were able to read the hidden music. I guess if the traitor themselves is Norwegian, he would have known about the secret messages. But then why beat up the journalist, right? Presumably the journalist is just like writing the names of the pieces. How would the journalist know that this is a secret messages? With him reading the condor here, it further like points me towards this guy because that's how he would have noticed the information and get suspicious about it. But yes, does that mean his real name is therefore Einar Stormer, the Cobra? But then we're finding almost nothing about the Viking, I guess? I guess it's one of the henchmen, right? Maybe he's Chiquito, so he went into football, though like they're supposed to be in their 50s, right? Because it's, again, 70s, so after the war, people would have gotten on with their, in their age. So I wouldn't expect them to be playing in a football team by now. Unless he's like the manager of the team, rather than a player. This one from the vineyard, right? This feels like this still leads somewhere because it says... Killed it, cooked it, and got the name for the article. So probably we can find it. Thanks for setting me up with the visit. Best BU. So somehow we have to work out what the name of that article is. Because they sent to a Norwegian's vineyard, right? So are we saying the Norwegian is the Einar Stormer? Because he's the one running all those businesses. And that's why he's in the background of that picture. Yeah, the feral roosters and cockerels. And he says, killed it, cooked it, got the name for the article. Yes, rooster brings up, or trying to look for a rooster brings up rooster's cry. Rooster's cry. I was led through the vineyards of Perdigo region, Chile, by a most unusual guide. He was a heavy-set man with an eye patch and an air of both deep melancholy and occasional eruptive anger. He could have been a Viking Norseman, dressed in an ill-fitting summer suit. He ran his vineyard with near military precision. He paused our tour to conduct a brief, purposeful conversation with a serious-looking man who was tailed by his melancholic son. Oh, the son might be on the football team? I asked him what it was about. He looked at me with a glint in his eye. I believe that my friend Patrice is sending a guest my way this evening, a certain George. I am meant to show him true Chilean hospitality. I did not pause too long to imagine what this meant. He was in truth very sad. He'd just been to the funeral of a dear friend earlier that day. David was a brilliant artist. We go back years. Fell in love with a girl once, champion skier who married a terrible man. Never got over it. It was a beautiful service. A tiny church with its back to the mountains. Wonderful. He spoke fondly of his dear sister, a composer who no longer speaks to him. She lost her husband, a doctor, in the war and blames me. Okay. So that's how that comes back to the music piece. So her brother is this guy and he's the traitor. And she had like a double barrel name, so I assume that will give us their actual family name. Okay, we're gonna get back to that. When asked why, he turned his great sad eyes to bear down on me. You remember my friend? The one I mentioned? We were schoolboys together, like brothers. One day he told me he found a way to make some money. A simple task. He convinced me to help him. I didn't know it would lead to... He slammed his fist down on the table, startling me, but after a moment he only shook his head and took a gulp of wine. My sister always disapproved of my association with him and his NUF buddies, but I made sure she never knew of any details of the work I did for him. Not until 5 years ago. She visited the vineyard, and I had few too many glasses. I told her everything, going back to the beginning. She hasn't spoken to me since. He let out a heavy sigh, slumping back in his seat. After she went home, she wrote a piece of music dedicated to me. I guess I should be satisfied with that. He then began singing softly to himself, before long drifted into a heavy, fitful sleep. Bruce Irwin, Footsteps in the South. Yeah, Barando Publishing. I think I saw that in the Rolodex, maybe we can call them. But yes, I guess I was slightly off about the music being for the husband, right? Because that's not the husband's name. So it's Concerto for Casper, that's going to be his first name. The guy that was being talked about in the article. And then she's Hansen Oberg, but in here... The husband was Anders Oberg, so it means it's Hansen is the family name. So Casper Hansen is the name of the Norwegian guy. So this is the man with an eye patch. He's the Norwegian man, but that means he's not the boss. He's not the Cobra, right? Because we know that the Cobra, he doesn't have long hair or smoke. He's the Viking, which would make sense. So his name is therefore Casper Hansen. And he's currently in wherever that vineyard is, right? Because we had few places named. But of course, they say nothing about, like, you know, this is a terrible article about, like, the vineyard he visited because it doesn't name the place exactly or the name of this vineyard. Is this Perdidio region? Was that a location we can use? Oh, yes, there is Perdidio, so maybe that's it. Although it's, yeah, region doesn't sound like a town, but okay, maybe that's enough of a location. And therefore, he's this guy. And therefore, I presume from everything else I've seen that this is the other guy, like the Cobra. Because we've eliminated almost everyone else. Again, this guy in theory, not breaking any of the rules, but again, standing guard is not quite what I imagine the boss would be doing. We can try call the Barnado Publishing. We did have a number for them, I'm pretty sure. Okay, they're not responding. I mean, we got all the evidence because at the bottom here it tells us whether we have outstanding evidence left or not. So I guess this is everything we're getting. I guess what I'm kind of confused is that led us to the Viking Casper Hansen, right? Where the way I was reading this article here, I thought this was leading to the Cobra because he's supposed to be the big boss. Here in the call with the grocery store, he said he's met the Cobra. And when he talks about why, yes, he asks about how he says, you mean to betray the Cobra, you know his name. Oh, so while this led us to the Casper Hansen being the one of the traitors, what the message from the music gives us is the name Einar Stormer, which is not the brother directly, right? So that means it names the Cobra. So that's his original name. But that's, again, just going by that whole, they pulled him into a place and then beat him up because he knew the name of the boss, like, it was hidden in like multiple layers, right? He just named that one piece of music that you don't even know, like the Casper is not even the boss's name. Then his name is hidden inside the music if you know the secret code. So it's like, that's a weird thing for them to pull him in and be like, oh, you revealed his name, how dare you? But we're gonna go with it. Now, his location, is it the same? Because he could be in the Santa Corvina because that's the football team he supports, right? Like, just because this guy has this vineyard in this specific location doesn't mean the other guy does. So let's try that then. See if that works out. Okay, there are 2 or fewer errors. I'm fairly sure about the names, the locations maybe. Now, the one thing that could be also wrong is the fact that I think those 2 guys are the same guy, but there might not be. So this picture might be wrong, and that's him. Okay, so that fixes it, and therefore those are 2 different guys, but they just look very similar on this art. To whom it might concern, I found the Cobra and the Viking. Both are native Norwegians who in their youth were involved in perpetrating the Tromsø Bridge Massacre. The Viking is Casper Hansen, the brother of Celia Hansen Oberg, the renowned composer. He lives on his vineyard in Perdidio, Chile. He sold out the resistance to the Nazis through his childhood friend. That childhood friend was Einar Stormer, who later became the Cobra. This was known to Celia Hansen Oberg, who put his name into a cryptic piece of music. The Cobra lives in Santa Corvina, where he runs a fish tanning business, factory, and owns the local football team. Or soccer, if you're gonna be like that. So that's everything in chapter 4. So this has taken me as long as the previous 3 chapters taken together. So the story is getting a bit more involved. And so we're gonna wrap it up here. We'll see if the other chapters get even longer and more complicated next time. So if you enjoyed this one, consider liking or subscribing. Thank you to channel members for supporting the channel, and I will see you soon on that adventure.